Hi, bandmates, and to my new viewers. Hi, guys. I'm Abby, a student doctor based in Nigeria, currently in her fifth year of studies, and this is a life update. It's been over 6 to 7 months since I sat down to film. Wow, that's really long. And within these months, a lot of things has really occurred that has led to me pausing my filming and posting schedule. Right now, I think I'm in a better place to start filming and posting again. But I was like, before I do that, how about I come on here and bring you all up to speed to where I am at the moment before I begin posting regularly on here again. But before I get into the update on what is new and what has been happening, I'd like to give you a backstory. In 2017, I got admission into the Federal University in Ebonyi State to study medicine and surgery. Unfortunately or unfortunately for me, I was among the first set, that's the pioneering set for the medical school in the Federal University of Ebonyi State. The course was supposed to run for 6 years, that is 2017 to 2023, which is 6 years and you're done. But not beknownst to me that pioneering students, we go through a lot of struggles, and this struggle is one of the things that affected our clinical years and also one of the reasons why I had to stop posting on YouTube. So in 2017, I got the admission and the preclinical ran pretty smoothly aside from the COVID period 2020, which was the period you're supposed to graduate from preclinicals into the clinicals. So instead of 2020, we graduated in 2021. And then in 2021, after a second MB, we faced the situation of high hostel fees, which was another thing that delayed our resumption, because the hostel fee for the Federal University was quite high, and with students and the parents, we were laying complaints. But the school, they were like, if we do not pay, that our clinical years will be prolonged, that they will make us stay at home even more. And then the hostel was also compulsory, so we didn't have a choice. We went ahead and paid the fees alongside with the hostel fees, and then we all came back to the hostel. On getting to the hostel, okay, it's time for us to resume our clinical programs, right? Wrong. The lectures were being given to us by clinical lecturers, which are also the doctors in the hospital. So these lecturers came like for a few weeks, and then they gradually stopped coming. And then got the information that the lecturers are refusing to give us lectures because the appointment letter that they were given by the school management, the salary that was put in place in the letter was way too small for them as doctors that are lecturing in a federal university, and also that the school was telling them that they should be full-time lecturers, and yet they are giving them such salary. So he made them to withdraw from teaching us and decided that they are not going to be lecturing for the school. And obviously we are the ones that will be affected, because if we don't have lecturers, we are not going to proceed with our clinical programs, and if we do not proceed, we are going to just stay idle. So the lecturers stopped coming, we are not having any clinical postings, so basically we were just in the hostel throughout 2021-2022 doing nothing. And then at some point, we met the school management whether we can start our M1 and S1 postings, which is the postings we have in our fourth year. The management told us that the lecturers, which are also the doctors, they refuse to attend to us because obviously they are not happy about the salary. Like, they were told that they will be paid if they are to lecture or to guide us through our postings. So we are just in the hostel doing nothing for a whole year, and at the end of the year we are now asked to pay another hostel fee, because apparently, because we complained about the hostel fee being ambiguous at the beginning of the clinical session, they decided that we can pay instrumentally for those that cannot pay at once, like for 6 months. Then after the 6 months, they can complete the payment. But we did not know that we were just going to be in the hostel doing nothing. So at the end of the 6 months, they came demanding for the remaining fees for those who haven't completed their hostel fee, and people were like complaining that we've been in the hostel doing nothing, and yet you still want to come and collect the complete amount of fees. And they were like, they have nothing to do with the school management, that the hostel is different and all of that. And we're like, it's not supposed to be so, but yet they still sent us home. So we all went home because of that, but fortunately it was during the Christmas period, so we went home. But we now came back, and by the time we got back, and that was around 2023, so we spent almost a year and a couple of months doing close to nothing in our fourth year. And mind you, there are other students that are also from the preclinical, they are writing their MBBS exams and are graduating into the clinicals, but they cannot come back to school because we, the pioneer set, we've not yet moved forward. So they're at home waiting for us to move forward for them to come in. So it's like their backlog of students, and we are still here stagnant and nothing is moving on, and yet we are paying the hostel fee. 2022 to 2023 we came back, and then they resolved the issue with the management and the lecturers, and then the lecturers resumed their lectures and postings resumed, and then we continued that way until 2023 September, October. Mind you, as at that year they kept on postponing our MBBS exams because of the circumstances surrounding the school and the amount of time we'd already spent prior to resuming our lectures. So everything affected the academic calendar, so we did not know the actual time we're going to be writing our MBBS exams because of that. But the supposed date was supposed to be around September, October, so we are preparing towards that month. Then getting close to the date of the exam approaching, the school management came again and asked us to pay our hostel fee for that year because the year is ending, and we're like, we are close to writing our MBBS exams. How about we write our examinations and proceed to the next level, and then we go ahead and pay the fees, so that it not be, if you're unfortunate, you write the exams and you fail, God forbid, then you fail and you're paying hostel fee again. And mind you, this hostel is compulsory, so the management has a leverage over us that if they say pay and you don't pay, they'll kick you out and you have no other place to stay. So we're like, number one, the hostel fee is ambiguous. Number two, we spent this amount of years in this class, not because it's our fault, but because of the issue with the school management, not the students. But it was like an upsetting situation that we've been made to stay in the same level for close to 3 years, and we are asked to pay for the hostel fee continuously for the 3 years, even though we are still in the same class, because we are thinking that the hostel fee is supposed to be paid sessionally, since we've paid for the 4th year of the hostel, that once we graduate to the 5th year, then we can pay for that. But the school came out and said that it's not going to be paid sessionally, it's going to be paid yearly. So if the school should make you stay in one class, let me say the school management had an issue and you're made to stay in 400 level for 2-3 years, you're going to be paying your hostel fee for that 2-3 years every year. The first year you pay, second year you pay, third year you pay, even though you're still in the same class. And we're like, that is not how it's supposed to be, and normally this was not what we are told. So it triggered a lot of misunderstanding between the management, the school, the students in general. So because of that, the management had to send a letter that we had to leave the hostel if we do not pay, and we are not going to write our MBBS exams, meaning that we are not going to go ahead to the next class, and other students are going to remain at home until we are willing to pay for us to write our exams. And because of this, the accreditation team that was supposed to come, they did not come again, because apparently because we refused to pay, we are not going to write these exams, so accreditation is not going to go on. The exams we are now supposed to have on September, October of 2023 was put on hold, and then the students in general had to go for a peaceful protest against the situation, because it was really heartbreaking that we've been in a class for over 3 years that is not our fault, and yet we are asked to pay the fees for the 3 years that we've been staying in the hostel. So we're going to pay the fees 3 times. So the students in general, both those from 100 level to the 400 level A class, all had to go for a peaceful protest, both in the preclinical campus and in the clinical campus, which is the hospitals, and then around town. Then after this protest, the school management, because of the protest, which was a peaceful one, but because of that, we were sent back in, and we were all suspended from the school indefinitely. So they were like, we should all pack our things and leave. That's another thing again, because we are in the hostel. It's compulsory to be in the hostel. They have the leverage to send you packing at any moment, and you won't have the place to go and stay and be like, let me hang around here instead of going all the way. Let me say you're living in Abuja, you don't say let me hang around and wait and see if there's going to be something that will be resolved. You have to carry your bag and go to Abuja, and if they resolve the case next month, you still have to start coming back again, which was very stressful. But we had no choice. We all had to leave the hostel premises and we all were sent home. Then when we got home, for a month, the second month, the third month, no response from the management, because apparently they themselves, they are also waiting for the students to pay the fees, but the students hadn't paid yet. So they themselves, they are also upset with the students. They didn't give us any response. So we stayed at home for over close to 4 months, and it was really frustrating because we've stayed in this class for over 3 years. So you know what that will do to anybody. You're being placed in a situation where you're stagnant for a long period of time. You see other people, they are progressing, people are graduating, people are getting married, people are having children, people are buying their cars, getting jobs, and you're still stuck in a class. You're still in school. Like, someone would have given birth to like 2 children in the space of 4 years, and you're still in that class. And it's not because you failed or anything, but because of the situation that you find yourself, especially as a pioneer student, and a lot of misunderstandings. It was really frustrating. At the end of the third, fourth month, the management decided to call a meeting for both parents and students to talk about the situation regarding the hostel and the fees. And that was when they told us that the fees are supposed to be paid yearly, not sessionally. That was what we were told, that our fees in general, not just the hostel fee, is supposed to be paid yearly. So even if you spend 10 years in your medical school, you're going to pay 10 times. It was so unexpected. We did not expect that. We're like, since in the document you gave us when we were admitted that it was stipulated to be 6 years, that we were supposed to pay 6 times, even if there was any issue or hiccup. But we didn't know that. So it was during the meeting that we were told that. But after the back and forth, the school management decided to make the hostel optional instead of compulsory for the first 2 sets. They were like, since the fees of the hostel is like one of the things that carries the bulk of the money that is seen in our general fees, that they will make it optional for us until further notice. That was their word, that they will make it optional until further notice, because they are building a new hostel which is incomplete. So I think the further notice is until that hostel is complete, that we can live outside the hostel, so that the fee that we are paying will be reduced. So that was the conclusion. But as for paying yearly, we will be paying yearly, but the amount of the fee will reduce as long as you're no longer in the hostel. And that was the conclusion of the meeting. And then they decided that we should go ahead, if you're not going to stay in the hostel, we should go ahead and look for houses where we can start packing in, so that we can resume around February, March. But we should go ahead and pay our fees of the last 2 years that we spent doing nothing. So that was the conclusion of everything. So we were like, okay, especially since parents are involved, they really just want to see their children just go ahead and study and come out from the school, because by the time you're seeing your child at home for months, especially after they've spent that amount of years in school, no matter, even if you're poor, you just have to go and look for money to borrow to make sure that you get your child out of that place, so that they don't fall into depression. Because we were already getting close to depression, staying at home for almost 4 months. When we are this close to writing our exam, you just had to come and pause everything, and you know what that would do to you. It will affect both your reading pattern. You're no longer excited for school. It was just a lot of emotions going on. The students were just so upset that you get so frustrated to the point that, like, you know what, I know that the money is ambiguous, but might as well go ahead and pay this amount of money, even though we're in a federal university. So after the meeting, that was when the house hunting began. I was not in the state at that moment, so I had to go back home. And then my friend's now the one that was doing the house hunting, and she really did try, because she was really stressed. The houses in this Ebonyi here, for a place like this, is so expensive. You see somewhere so tiny, and so underdeveloped. The house is really truly dilapidating, and yet they will calling you 600, 700,000 naira for the apartment, which is, I don't even understand. But after all said and done, she was able to find this apartment, which is a 3 bedroom apartment. We had to split it because since it's 3 bedroom apartment, we had to take a room each. Remember, the thing with this house now is that when she found this house, oh my god, the agent was not very honest with us, because this house was really old. They had to repaint it, they had to put tiles, and this agent, we paid him by February. And when he was asking for this money, he was really antsy to collect the money. When he eventually got it, he just went cold. For almost a month, this man did not come to paint the house and change the tiles. We are constantly calling him and all that, giving us excuses upon excuses. And at some point, he was like, we should paint it ourselves, that in our next year rent, he will remove it. I was like, what if I don't want to stay in this house by next year? So you make me allow stay in this house again? But I said, no, I'm not doing that. You must paint it and you must style it, because that was the agreement. So eventually, after the hassle for almost a month, he eventually came and painted the house and tiled the house. But unfortunately, he told my friend that found the house that the water is not running upstairs now, but during rainy season it will run upstairs. And mind you, we are on the 3rd floor, right? But like, okay, since we couldn't find any house close to the hospital, the good houses we are taking, because all the students in the 1st and 2nd set, we are all getting houses, and we are not living in this Ebonyi. So those who are living here, we are fortunate enough to come and get the houses close by with better water supply and light and everything. So we had to find the house that was a little bit farther away from the hospital. And then as when we got here, the light was okay, but it's just the water that was not coming up. It was when we now packed in eventually, because I had, after the few months of painting and cleaning and everything, on a Sunday I had to come back on the weekend, because I really was coming back with all my things at once. And mind you, I'll just advise, if you're coming back with your load to a place, just have a decent amount of cash in your pocket, because police people are going to stop you so many times. They stopped us so many times just to collect money, not because of anything, but because they saw loot. Oh, I got here on the weekend, and then I had to clean, arrange the place. That was March of this year. Then after packing in, it was when we now packed in and we now found out that the landlady of the house was living in this house. And then she now told us that water does not run at all. It's rainy season, dry season, snow season, that water does not come upstairs. And we had already paid our rent. What else can we do? I was like, Jesus Christ. So I'm moving into an apartment for the first time, and I'm going to be fetching water upstairs. Wow, what a life. So I'll go to school, I'll come back, and I'll fetch water. I was like, I'm just going to power through this 1 year of staying in this place, then I'll look for another place by God's grace, because I cannot stay here in 2025. But moving on, I had to move in, do a lot of cleaning, arrangements, and we had to settle in. But one thing I'm going to say is that moving into an apartment is expensive, okay? It will eat your money up, especially as a student that I'm not working. It eats my savings. It eats, if I speak bad English, it ate my savings up. I had a lot to do. I had to build a wardrobe, because my room did not come with wardrobe. The other rooms came with wardrobe, but I was the last person to come back, so I was the last person to choose a room, and the room I got did not have a wardrobe. So I had to build a drawer for my clothes. I had to build a wooden hanger where I can hang my white and the clothes that I wear on a daily basis. So I had to build a table and a chair. I had to get a mirror. I had to get floating shelves, because my room was really small, but I really wanted it to like feel homey. I wanted it to be the design that suits me. Even though I don't have the money for the thing in my head, but I really did want my room to be really nice. So I built a new table and a chair, and I built a drawer, a hanger, and then I had to get a side table as well, a little thing here and there. All I can say is that these little things that I just got, just a few things, so finished my savings. And at some point I was like, what am I going to do with my life? I know that the hostel is expensive, but I miss not having so much responsibilities. And now we are also going to be talking about the light issue, the payment of light, because when we came in here, the light was not having any issues, and all of a sudden our meter started having issues. Let me say we buy a meter of a unit of over 100 and something units, and then in like 2 3 days it will finish. I was like, what's happening? What's going on? This happened for almost a month. We had to go and report to the landlady just for her to tell us that the meter has been here for over 10 years, so it's having issues. So we have to bring money to repair the meter. I'm like, we came in here and met this issue. Why are we the ones resolving the issue with our money? We've paid. You are supposed to be the one to be taking care of this. Like, she doesn't know. I'm like, I wish your husband is there because now we need the landlord, because it's the landlord that we're supposed to be speaking to. Because apparently the landlady is just laissez-faire. Before we could have the opportunity to repair the meter, the transformer spoiled, and that's how this entire street has been without light and water for almost a month. So this is like the struggle I've been going through in this apartment. The only joy in my apartment right now is just my room and how I arranged it, which is really pleasant to my eyes. Although I have a few things I still need to get to amplify the room, because I really wanted the space to be nice for my filming setup at least, which I feel like I did justice to. But the light and the water issue is really icky to me, and I really pray that I'll have the money to live here next year, because I really need to live here. I really need to leave. All I can say is that moving into a new apartment is really stressful. Although leaving the hostel was really stressful, I feel like I really appreciate that I had the opportunity to live outside of the hostel before I graduated, because it helped me to mentally prepare myself for the responsibilities of adulthood. Because it's one thing for you to come online and watching people living by themselves complaining, but it's another thing for you to experience it yourself. So me experiencing it myself, knowing that it's not easy, it will make me that by the time I'm actually graduating, I start making money myself, that I will know how to be very responsible. Because if I did not have the opportunity not to be dependent on my parents on housing throughout my years of university, I never had the opportunity to stay by myself. I was just used to staying in the hostel until I graduated. I think meeting all these house hunting issues, light issues, water issues, if I had met it after graduation, it would have hit me like a shock, and I don't know how I would have spent my money, especially when I started making money. As at that time, I feel like I wouldn't be able to manage my money really well. But now that I've experienced it, now that I'm still in school and now you're working, I feel like by the time I graduate out of school, that I will be able to handle and manage it without feeling so stressed and anxious about it like I did right now. So it was, although it's really stressful to move into an apartment after staying in the hostel all my educational life, I feel like it's a really nice experience to have all in all. And then moving into the apartment was just, I was like moving in, arranging my things, but still preparing for examination at the same time, because like I said before, our examination was supposed to be held by October 2023, but it was cut short. So as we are resuming to kick off that exam that was put on hold. So we are preparing for the third MB exams while still packing into school, while still arranging your things in, and you're still preparing for exams. And then we also kicked off the remaining lectures that that was remaining. It was not remaining that much because lecturers had already done justice to almost all the topics before this issue arose. So they were just coming in for revisions, and then we are completing our postings while still packing into the apartment, while still reading at the same time. So it was really a lot of things that were being done at the same time, and it was really cumbersome and stressful, but it had to be done regardless, because you have no other choice. Because at this point the school was trying to rush us to complete our exams, so that the backlog of students that were already at home, including us that were already here and not yet moved, now between that March to April to June was like a lot of activities were going on in preparation for the exams. And then by the next month the mock exams began, and it was really a back-to-back something. So we go from Monday to Friday, and you're not going to sleep. There was no time to sleep in between, no time to breathe. It was a marathon examination. We had the mock in 1 week, we had our practicals the next week, when we began our main exams, and it was a back-to-back examination. And especially for people who have been at home for 4 months without having any form of academic prowess, because as we all went home, most of us we went home with disappointment and we are really sad. So with that kind of emotion, nobody would be in a very strong state of mind to be doing active studying. So now that we're back, it's like we are back to start all over again from where we stopped, and that was not easy at all, because it was like you had to burn a lot of midnight candles to catch up with the topics you've left dormant for over 4 months. A lot of going to night classes, a lot of revisions, a lot of discussions had to be done. So it was really, really overwhelming for me as well. It was like I'm packing, I'm arranging my things, trying to get my footings together, trying to make sure that I grab as much topics as possible, try to discuss, because now that we're no longer together in the hostel, I cannot easily discuss with my colleagues because we are no longer in close proximity. So we had to make our time to discuss online, and you know how network can be sometimes, so we had to make it at night when the network is so much better, so you will not sleep. So it was so mentally exhausting, physically exhausting. I was just living on coffee and inshallah. I came back with over 62 kg and I lost over 15 kg in a week. That was how crazy it was. But the mock went on well, and then we got into the week of the MBBS exams. I just knew for a fact that I had to leave my house that period, because I don't know if it's just me, but if I'm facing something like a very serious examination, I have to leave my comfort zone in order to make sure that I put my firm foot forward. I'm not relaxed. Not that I'm going to be relaxed at home though, but once I leave my own house, my bed and everything, I'm not seeing things I'm used to around me, then I am going to put a better foot forward. So I had to call some of my friends. They had a 3-bedroom apartment as well, but their a third friend was not around. So I was like, can I come over and stay in you guys' place? And also I did not want, like I said, I was fetching water upstairs as well, because the water is not running, light is quite fickle, and I was like, I cannot do the same thing I did during the mock examinations of going to classes to read, coming back, writing exams, coming back to fetch water again, all the way from downstairs upstairs. It was really daunting. I'm already losing weight from reading. I'm also going to come and lose weight from fetching water every single day again. It was not nice, and so I had to talk to them about it, and they were really kind enough to let me come to their place and stay throughout the MBA exam period. And they were really hospitable. They really took care of me, made sure that I was in the right state of mind, because sometimes I would just break down because of how overwhelming the things were, how cumbersome it was. I was really scared, I was tired, I was overwhelmed, I was so hungry, but I just couldn't eat. It was that intense for me. I thought that the second MBBS exam was horrible, but this third MB was crazy. And the fourth MB, hopefully it won't be that crazy, but I just know it will be crazier, because I feel like as we are getting higher in our academics in medical school, it gets tougher. I don't even understand this English. They say, yeah, the second MB is the ones that you have not met third MB and you have not met fourth MB. It's horrible here. But anyways, they were really nice. They hosted me really well. And as for the examinations, I had to be leaving really early in the morning because I was so nervous. It was really intense, but I was really glad that my friends were there to help me out. They gave me the room. They were really there. They gave me food. They fed me. The water was consistently running. I was not stressing about water or light, because that is something that you really need to be available for you. Water, light, and food throughout such hectic exams. So like the viva happened at the end of the exam, and then preparing for the viva was really fickle for me, because one thing that people don't really talk about this examination is that waiting period. Now you're going to be waiting for the ending of the exams and then for the result. That period of waiting between the ending of your exam and the result coming out, people don't really talk about how in your head you are. Because as I was preparing for the viva, I was like, I'm saturated at this point. I do not know what to read for viva, and viva you cannot read for it. It's your confidence, your ability to speak, the grace of God, and the favor in the eyes of the vigilator, because there's nothing that you read at that moment that you're very sure is what they will ask you. So that period of preparing for my viva, I was just thinking and reminiscing about the results I've been having before, the scores. I was so scared, trying to remember the ones I did well, the ones I did not do well. And yeah, the viva came and it went well as well. Although I was so overwhelmed, I was still really anxious. But then eventually the result came out on Saturday, on the weekend, and all I can say is that I was just so liberated, and I was not happy. I wouldn't say I was happy. I was too overwhelmed to be happy, but I was more or less, it was like a weight has been lifted off my shoulder. Like finally, the feeling of happiness came gradually over time, but for the meantime, at that on that particular day when the result came out, I felt more of relief. Yeah, that's the right word. And immediately, one week immediately after the result came out, we started our 500 level classes and posting. So it's been really back to back because the school really wants us to graduate by next year, because we've already spent so much time in the fourth year. So they want us to graduate as quickly as possible so that the backlog of students will reduce and they will start producing doctors. So yeah, I just wanted to come give you guys the update on what happened and why I stopped posting, but I'm finally back on YouTube now. So tell your friend to tell your other friends and your enemies that Abby is back, okay, and we are back to stay. So turn on your post notification bell, subscribe, and become a bandmate today, because we're going to be pretty consistent over here. And also like this video, always like my videos, because a new series will be coming in. I'll be dropping a new series very soon, and also I'll be vlogging even more. And it's not going to be easy because of the back-to-back classes. So all I need is your lovely support of always sharing my videos and liking the videos. That's one way you can support and encourage me, so that even if I'm stressed, I'll be like, okay, these people love me, I might as well just do something for them this week. And turn on your post notification bells so that when a new video on this channel drops, you will be notified. And I'll see you guys very soon in my next video. Until then, stay happy and stay blessed. Bye.